Good afternoon and welcome to another amazing episode of Peace Zone with Peace Ambassadors on your favorite channel, Keftan TV Abuja. And as I always ask you, how are you doing today? I hope you're becoming peaceful with yourself, others, and the environment. Hope you're ensuring justice, security, and development in your spaces. I am Moses Abolade, your peace building facilitator and host. Notably, Peace Zone is a program that helps you become who you need to be, and we need to promote this particular program. And you can do that with in different capacity, either as a sponsor or to advertise your goods and services on this particular show. And this will help us to sustain the program. And you can do that via +234 8109 661910. Or you can also send a mail, ppepnet@gmail.com or info@thepepnet.org. And today we'll be looking at something very essential. My guest on the show today have been with me virtually for two different occasions when we discussed the conflict situation in Sudan. He also joined me virtually to discuss the combat evacuation readiness and the impact on civilians in foreign countries. Today he's joining me physically in the studio to discuss conflict issues in Southern Kaduna. And I want to say welcome, Mr. Elisha.
Thank you so much.
Elisha, it's good to see you physically.
Yes, of course,
So let me introduce him again to those people who are just meeting him for the first time. Now, my guest is a conflict and security expert with over 7 years of experience working in Nigeria, South Sudan, Somalia, and Libya. He has worked with various international humanitarian organizations where he applied his expertise to promote peace, security, and stability in conflict-affected regions or community whatsoever. And being in Nigeria, he has given more of his time and expertise to peace-building analysis. And for me, I see more as a peace-building analyst who is very versatile on any conflict-related issues in Nigeria. And my guest is Elisha Bello. Good to have you, Elisha.
Thank you, Moses, and thank you for having me here today.
How's it been? How's been the...
Well, so far so good.
The work so far?
So far so good. I think it's been a very good moment, seeing a lot of dynamics of situations ranging from the security, politics, and also governance situations in Nigeria. So it's been amazing.
Thank you very much. So your viewers at home, you can join in with you can call in into this particular engagement because we'll be making discussion and analysis. You can also join in with your contributions via the number going on your screen right now. So let's get at it, Elisha.
Yeah.
The situation of Southern Kaduna has become so worrisome. The report of deaths no longer sounds gory to so many people, and according to many people who are affected by it, according to how be becoming factual because of the sensitivity of this conflict situation. According to the Kaduna state government, about 1,266 people or persons were killed by bandits in the state in the last 15 months, and it was so tragic that about 746 people have been kidnapped during the course of this period between January and March, and it's so devastating. I will want us to go back a bit because here we are more concerned about the root causes of violence. So can we go a little bit down the historical analysis of where all this began?
All right, thank you so much. It's so unfortunate that we are seeing a lot of number of people and a lot of casualties. Many people lost their life in the course of this situation. But Moses, I don't want to go deep, but I just want to give you a general overview about the historical incident or situation there. When you check very well, you will realize that this situation has a historical genesis, and it's more of like, in general, is a ethno-religious dynamic of kind of conflict, of which is the most devastating and the most impactful type of conflict that it's very difficult to resolve it, and it will cost a lot to resolve ethno-religious conflict. And in that ethno-religious conflict, there you will come, you will notice that because of the dynamic of religion in Southern Kaduna, the Christians and the Muslims did not settle and harmonize themselves. And some of them are claiming entitlement, saying that the land belongs to them, and others are saying this is our ancestral land.
Yeah.
So the dispute now started on land and taking position of either political offices or traditional offices, of which is very serious issue. So across the line of ethnic, there is dispute, and coming back to religion, there is dispute. So the conflict, it has been for a long time, and there was no harmonization between the ethnic groups and also the religion groups. And in terms of government effort, I don't see more effort by the government in terms of resolving the political battle between the ethnic groups and the religion groups. Yes, that really increased the fuel of the crisis and the conflict between the parties involved.
So before we go, before we delve into the effect it has on people and all that, there has been recent issues like the one that happened on April, and in April, and the one that happened recently that a whole village was raided and people were killed. And we know that this has been happening even back since 1980s, and even the governor stated that it can be traced to 400 years of history of conflict and settlement crisis they have.
Yeah.
So with all this, recently it's looking more of like this is a crime scene, rather than just conflict issues that we are used to, because banditry, unknown gunmen is featured into the news outlets that affect this particular engagement. So this particular tragic scene, not even engagement in this case. Now, so what is it actually? Is this a crime scene to be placed, or is this something we can trace mainly to conflict situation?
All right, thank you. As far as I'm concerned, there is no any correlation of you justifying a 400 years incident with current incident. I'm very sure if we are going to do that, then definitely there's not going to be peace, because we will be now linking our generational problems to our current situation.
That's true.
So my concern here is when the government were trying to put more effort to curtail the menace of this ethno-religious conflict, then without much effort from them, then we now experience a new surge of another terrorist group called the bandits in Kaduna State and some part of neighboring state within Kaduna. So now the attention was shifted to those bandits, and the government neglect more effort or neglect the situation in Southern Kaduna. They now took the advantage and reinforced themselves. Like you've mentioned, is a kind of encouraging from the government part to say that is a generational, or let's say 400 years. That means is a revenge. If now I am at my age, if my dad would tell me that during his grandfather so community raised down the community, raised down our community and killed number of people, including some of our giant people and some of our heritage. So now me as a young person, I will say, we cannot leave it, we'll go back and revenge. It's an error from the government to start tracing the root of this conflict 400 years back ago. It's a matter of finding solution current situation. I'm sure even the government, they can testify maybe that time there's no anything like democracy at that time. So that means there's change and there's a new way to adapt the situation. So I don't expect the government to do that, and the way forward is the government should put more effort, all stakeholders, to come together and say the truth. I hope you're getting me. What is the problem? It's not about talking. I hope you're getting me. What is the problem? And the government should take responsibility from their end and resolve the issue. So, is it land? I hope you're getting me. Is it traditional title crisis? Resolve it. Divide these people, give these people their own entitlement, give these people their own entitlement. And even enact it as a law.
So if we're looking at this, like we do on this show, we try to make it so simple to common or general people, so that we can all be on the same page. But I want you to delve into looking at the stakeholders separately, in a triangulated manner. Any way you want to categorize the stakeholders involved in the Southern Kaduna crisis.
The stakeholders are the traditional rulers. We cannot do away with them. Because they are the gatekeepers of each of their communities, and they have a role to play in terms of talking to their people. I hope you're getting
yes.
it. But when you look at it critically, that the traditional rulers as gatekeepers, they don't have a say. Whatsoever they have said to the government are not doing it. Thereby rendered them like less important in the community, because the government did not empower them and give them that support that is needed. If you heard a lot of them when you interview or during interview, you will hear a lot of them talking about they have forwarded this complaint to the local government so that the local government will take it either to the state assembly or the state assembly or any commissioner there to take it to the state executive council. So they felt they were marginalized. The government don't listen to them. So as far as I'm concerned, if they can now use the traditional method of conflict resolution to bring themselves together, now sit down. We've been together for these years. What is the genesis of this problem? Let's end it now. We don't want our children to continue this way. We have destroyed many lives. Let them sit down together.
Okay.
Then if they can come together and agree on common ground, then they will now invite the government. But if they allow the government to come in with this kind of politics we are playing in Nigeria, I'm sorry, the government will utilize the opportunity and exploit it for their favors.
So can we look straight into, thank you for that, can we look straight into the effect it has caused so far? Technically, the best statistics or an overview too. How well has this, how is this damage so far on the people, children, women, and different vulnerable groups in Kaduna right now?
I'm sorry, this is a serious issue. When you just look at from January to this very moment, the number of casualties, the number of people that lost their lives, you could imagine the relatives, what they are passing through right now. They are traumatized. It's a serious humanitarian situation there. And I'm scared if it continues this way, then we'll experience another reprisal from aggrieved people. So that means this thing will not end. Imagine if 1,700 and something or 1,070 something number of people now decided to say, their relatives decided to say, we are not going to let it go. As angry as they are right now, you can imagine if they're saying, okay, we identify some of these people, right? We identify some of these people that attacked us and kill our people. We are going to revenge.
So, but it has been going back and forth for a long time.
Yeah.
And at the moment, looking at the effect on their psyche is one.
Yeah.
Looking at it from the humanitarian angle is another, based on needs and all that. What do you think is the first call of action that any government will have done to cushion that effect on these people, on the people affected?
Is to go back and give them a sense of belonging. Right now, the relief you will give them will not solve the problem.
Okay.
I hope you are getting it. And according to the humanitarian law, they are entitled to this relief at this moment. You are not even doing any favor to them. I hope you are getting it.
I get it.
According to the humanitarian law. So giving them relief right now is not even doing favor to them.
Yeah.
Because they are entitled to it. Let's leave that one aside. So what is needed now is government to swing into action by implementing those things that they neglected. What are the demands of these people, the conflicting party? There's a thin line that will solve the issue if it has been addressed for a long time. Let the government implement those things. There are a lot of promises. I could remember in 2021, the government of Kaduna State promises all these chiefdoms and all those locations when they had a town hall meeting with them to hear from them, and there was a committee that was set up. But ask me if those things were implemented. Some of them were not implemented. One of it is creation of that security ministry that is internal security ministry, or is it agency in Kaduna State, to be receiving and collating those information and incident. But the remaining, what are you doing with the remaining ones? Implement them. There are essential out of those things that you need to look at that will affect the life of people, especially the young people and the women
who are affected.
Yes.
Elisha, we will come back to you. Indeed, we are losing too much to to violent conflicts in Nigeria, and I think it is important we start looking at the best ways we can even prevent it before they become what they become right now. And I want to say it is also a call for us to maintain the relative peace we are currently enjoying. We'll be going on a short break now, and when we return, we will continue our discussion on the conflict situation in northern Nigeria, a focus on Southern Kaduna. Please stay tuned. You're welcome back from that short break, and on this particular episode we're looking at the conflict situation in northern Nigeria. It's been a series, and we're looking at we're focusing on Kaduna, the Southern Kaduna, and the crisis going on in Southern Kaduna, and we hope that there is a resolution, complete resolution, as soon as possible. And I'm here with Elisha Bello, who has been a regular. I think he's not an outsider again.
Yeah,
you're not a guest again.
No,
you're more of a peace building analyst.
Yes.
And we are doing this together to see how we can contribute our quota to the peace we are enjoying right now and maintain it. So let's continue the discussion, Elisha. Yeah. So for several decades this has been happening, and I would like to know what has been the reaction. We've discussed what the government has been doing, but beyond that, I would like to know what exactly has been the role of non-state actors, security personnel. Though you can talk about that as you talk about non-state actors like the civil society organization, religious leaders, and other state actors involved in this particular situation.
Okay, a lot of civil society organizations, both national and international organizations, working in Southern Kaduna to ensure that they have contribute their quota in terms of resolving this crisis, or let's say the conflict between the conflicting parties. But I can assure you many actors, or let's say many parties involved in the conflict refuse to present themselves. I hope you're getting me to come for the dialogue. I remember the interfaith. There are a lot of interfaith projects. I know a lot of number of organizations that are implementing interfaith dialogue, because everybody understands that the dynamics of the conflict is more of ethno-religious, right? So they integrate all the components of these ethno-religious conflict resolution processes in terms of international standard and contextualizing it in order to achieve the result. So civil society organizations are playing a vital role in terms of that. And apart from that, now that we have a humanitarian crisis and humanitarian needs in that angle, there are a lot of humanitarian organizations as a civil society organization that are rendering support to those that are affected, especially those that now are being rendered to become internally displaced persons. Is a concern, especially the children and the women, of which they are the most vulnerable when it comes to the issue of conflict or end recipient of each and every conflict impact. So with this, I'm sure is a call for more, because the number is increasing, and the number of the civil society in that location is not much, and maybe they have limited resources. So others may look into the matter and also go and support her. And again, there is a humanitarian ministry in Nigeria. They should give focus to a priority of situation. It shouldn't be reacting. You know,
it should be proactive.
More proactive. That's my concern. It shouldn't be reactive. Should be more of proactive. I hope you're
measures.
Measures, yes, so that the timely response to the situation will give a sense of belonging to the victims. So I think need more to be done, despite the fact that there is a lot that has been done by just limited number of civil society organizations and also limited resources. Just
like I asked on this particular show, I think last week, the guests we have, and we're talking about it's something for somebody want to intervene, maybe as CSOs or as any other non-actors, and there is also the place of how the people receive it. So what do you think has been the relationship between the intervener and the recipient of these interventions, if there has been any so far? Yeah. So I would like to know.
To be honest, any humanitarian organization or any CSO that has a mandate of humanitarian response like this must adhere to the IHL, International Humanitarian Standard, and the humanitarian principles of neutrality, impartiality, and so many of them there. So that means it shows, regardless of the party involved in the conflict, you don't need to segregate to say this person is from this, or you should help the victims regardless of their status, religion, whatsoever, right? Okay. So I'm very sure the civil society organizations that are there, they are professional and they are adhering to the humanitarian principles, and they will not compromise their standard.
Okay, thank you very much. That also reminds me, recently it's been more of a religious rather than ethno crisis. So can we discuss more about the religious institutions? What has been the role of religious leaders in all this?
Okay, you know, I consider it as something that the religion leaders, their hands are tied, because if you remember the government of Kaduna State, there was a time there was an order by the government imposing sanction on some limitation of messages by religious leaders in the state. I think about 3 to 4 years ago there was something like that, and it causes a lot of situation to regulate the kind of sermon and the preachings of the religious leaders or religious bodies in the state. I could remember that really caused a lot of tension in the state, not only in the state, the entire nation. However, it was misunderstood, and it was not the first thing that was supposed to be given order by the government. I hope you understand. The government is supposed to preach that tolerance and enforce the tolerance mechanism by aiding or paving ways for both parties to tolerate each other. But enforcing that law at that time, it was wrong, and it gave a wrong impression. So the religious leaders, what they need to do is to come up together. They should understand both religious advocates for humanity. And it's not good to kill people regardless of the situation. So when they understand this very common goal, I think they can harmonize their differences, and it's going to contribute.
So thank you for doing justice to that. I think can we look at conflict management scheme that will have been used by either security personnel, government agencies at state and federal level, and different stakeholders to ensure that this doesn't reoccur again? Because we are faithful people when it comes to prayers and all that, but we know this is a scientifically when we're looking at it from a peace building lens, it's important that we pay attention to what actually causes, which we have dealt with. Now, scientifically, how can we stop this from reoccurring? More of a post conflict peace building approach in this case.
I think the best is negotiation with a component of traditional method of conflict resolution. That's the best. It's negotiation because it's two parties, and you have to bring them together, and you need to have an extensive discussion to understand the lows and the highs, and also come together to harmonize the differences in negotiation. Then you need to touch, because there is ethnic in it, so you need to touch the traditional method of conflict resolution. So negotiation with a component of traditional method of conflict resolution.
Thank you so much for that. If you can give recommendations because of time, you know, we don't always have enough time to
my recommendation is I'm calling on the people of Southern Kaduna and relevant stakeholders in Nigeria to look into this matter, because the number of the casualties are mostly children and women, and it's not good always to be having this kind of number. We are killing some generation, of which is very bad. The government of Kaduna, the Nigerian government, should look into this matter. Relevant stakeholders, the religious bodies, they should please intervene into this situation, so that there will be an end to this crisis, and there will be an end to the killings of innocent people.
Okay, thank you very much. Your parting words, just in one sentence.
My parting words: there is no society that will thrive without peace. So I encourage everyone to voice out wherever you are in your community and your society. If you're on social media, tweet, call on the government. Peace is all we need, and let there will be a very good resolution in Kaduna and any other part of Nigeria that are experiencing this kind of situation.
I hope you've gotten that. Peace is all we need. Thank you very much,
Thank you, Moses.
Elisha Bello, for always responding anytime we needed to discuss on this kind of issue. Special thanks to you, and we are hopeful that whenever we call on you again, you will be very willing to be here with me.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Moses, and thank you, Kaftan and Pepnet.
Thank you very much. To viewers at home, thank you for joining us on this episode of Peace Zone. And as I said earlier, we need this program to continue. The more we do this kind of dialogue sessions, the more we have peace in our land, and the more you are peaceful with yourself. So do yourself a favor by and a whole lot of good by sponsoring and partnering with this program. You can do that by reaching out to Peace Zone through +23481096619, and you can do that also by sending mail to ppepnet@gmail.com. Our deepest appreciation goes to Captain TV management team, Abuja, the management of Pepnet, and Peace Zone project crew, and all peace builders and humanitarian workers managing conflict situations in different parts of the world, especially in Nigeria. Thank you for what you do, and it's very important. Until I appear on your screen next time, same station, for another episode of Peace Zone, please ensure you stay safe, stay peaceful, stay developed, and with that we can achieve a peaceful society. Thank you. Bye for now.